Hey guys, welcome back. Super excited about this next plugin. This is the second plugin of the løre collection. Remember, there's three: snap, stack, drop. Snap is all about freeze frames and taking quick pictures in the exact dimensions of your timeline to utilize in Photoshop for creative purposes, or for first frame, last frame, AI transitions, or if you need thumbnails, or for whatever reason you can think of. Stack, think of it as a bake system like the 3D world uses in most of these high-end 3D softwares. Within Premiere and After Effects, it works the same. So like Snap, you're going to set your output folder, and then we keep it simple. You can export H.264, ProRes, or WAV. 2 video files, 1 audio file. If you want, do an optional file name. You don't have to. I don't. Time is money. I go as fast as I can. I don't name nothing. I just populate my timeline. Probably not smart. You guys are smarter than me. There's 2 buttons, bake and stack. Boom, hit it, and it's going to place it right back on your timeline. If you use in and out points, it will do it just exactly like Snap within your in and out points. You don't have to select in and out points. If not, if there are no in and out points, it's just going to do your entire composition. So you can also use this as a quick, fast render as well. Sometimes Premiere's export, you got to go in, hey, these settings are already ready to go. And you can also change the quality. But so if you want to use this like a quick proxy creator, you can do that as well. If you don't know how to install these, check the user manual. Come here over to aescripts.com and download the ZXP installer. Then you can quickly get it up and running. When you think of Stack, I want you to think of speed. It's a baking system built for one thing: to speed up your workflow. Think of it like compressing a 5-course meal into a single bite. Proxy, smashed effects, color grades, downsized resolutions, all into one working file that moves as fast as you do. Exactly like Snap. Make sure you set the output folder. It can be absolutely anywhere. For this tutorial, I'm just setting it on my desktop, called it Stack. You can call it footage. You can call it whatever you would like. There's 3 formats that you can utilize: H.264, ProRes, WAV. There's 3 qualities for each one of those 3 formats. Whenever I use H.264, that's what I would suggest. If you're using proxies, you can drop it to low. If you want a lossless quality, always keep ProRes on high. Same with WAV. I can't imagine a situation where you would want a low-res WAV file. You can always change the file name if you want to stay organized. I never do that. I'm all about speed. I just let our file naming logic change the numbers and keep going. In this example here, I have 4K raw footage. I added my color grade, and now my computer, you can see, is having a hard time playing it back.
Old school way, like you and I start.
So first use case, hey, let's just get a low-res proxy so we can edit. If you do not have in and out points, it is going to export the entirety of your timeline. The best feature of Stack is that it brings it right back onto your timeline. You're not going through Finder. You're not going to your Premiere Pro project looking for files. It's right there, extremely organized, and it brings it right back onto your timeline, ready to go. It's important to note that it will bring in audio, and it will create a new audio track so you're not looking through. This is very useful if you have 12, 13 audio tracks. I, for the most part, always delete that track. If you don't delete it and you're like, wow, this project seems really loud, that's probably why you forgot to delete the audio on the stacked footage. Let's now take a look at the playback. I'm going to disable this clip.
It's not the old school way, like you and I start.
No glitch. Why is this important? In my projects, I get a lot of people that aren't used to talking in front of the camera, and I like to cut out their filler words, like, yeah, and I like to make it sound like they're talking very cohesively. Well, that's hard to do when you have a color grade or footage on your file, or if you're working with 8K and 4K footage. So I exported out a proxy, and now I'm going to edit this proxy.
It's not the old school way, like.
Do you hear that like right there? Let's remove it.
Old way, like you and.
I'm going to ripple delete. Clear my in and out points. Let's hear how it sounds.
It's not the old school way you and I started.
So it sounds good, but it doesn't look good, right? I'm going to delete my proxy. I'm going to enable the original footage, and let's morph cut and see how that looks.
It's not the old school way you and I started.
So we just removed a filler word with 8K footage. I then removed the proxy so that we can edit the original footage. The proxy was just to help me edit faster. And right here is a perfect example of why Stack was created. The morph cut can be extremely problematic in my workflow. I'm required to turn podcasts into short form content, and often those morph cuts don't allow me to add effects around it. The easiest way is just to bake this entire file out real quickly into a ProRes lossless quality. It brought it back perfectly within my in and out points. Don't forget to delete your audio. The audio is important. If I was to bring this into After Effects right now, I want the ability to have audio if I want to add effects that are crucial to what he's saying.
It's not the old school way you and I started.
Let's compare that to if we were to just bring in the original footage with the morph cut. If we were to just bring in this footage with this morph cut, do you see how it glitches? For whatever reason, morph cut does not travel to After Effects. And that's problematic for me because a lot of my effects, I need footage in one file. If I were to come over here and if I were to rotoscope this, it would look absolutely terrible with that glitch. So I bake and stack my footage, and now I have one complete clip that I could duplicate and I could rotoscope and do my effects that I like to do. If you remember the workflow we did with Snap earlier, we turned a 4K shot into this beautiful epic landscape. Well, we still have it in multiple files, which can be very difficult to work with special effects. So we're just gonna stack this down into one file. Don't forget to delete the audio. We're gonna hit replace with After Effects composition. Now we're working with one file, and it's gonna really help us when we rotoscope. Further, remember this file was 4K, and now my computer that is extremely slow, and now my computer is rotoscoping a 1920 by 1080 file instead of 4K, which makes it twice as fast. So we quickly rotoscope, and now behind our subject, we can write epic. You could accomplish this many different ways, but this is just an example of what Stack has to offer. It just lets you streamline your workflow. If I want to here, I could bake out a proxy. Just like in Premiere, we now have a proxy file right here that you could toggle on and off. And essentially what you could do is you could save different versions. I'm going to call this one original. And now you could always compare it as you add in multiple versions. Maybe you're like, hey, let's try turtles. And you'll always have that proxy to see which one you like, and you can always revert back to it. The alternative is duplicating and keeping your versions like that, but now your After Effects file is just becoming a complete mess. Proxies, baking, and stacking just keeps everything nice and organized. After Effects render queue is also a nightmare, so you can just use this as a render queue, go ProRes or H.264, select whatever option name you want to call it. You can select your output folder wherever you want, and you can hit bake to file, and now you just render queued what is normally a very annoying process of coming in here and changing all the settings. The in and out points, as someone that loves After Effects, this is, you don't want to get in a good habit of messing with these. So we just built it into this feature. If you have 2 layers selected, it's going to bake in stack for the duration of that. But before we get there, let's talk real quick. You need to go to Edit, Templates, Output Modules, and you need to make sure you have waveform audio created if you want to utilize that. You don't need to create anything for H.264 or ProRes. After Effects already has those output modules created. But for waveform audio, you do need to create this file. All you do is come down here. Let's see if we can go down to that waveform. Come down here and then just select Format, Wave. I put 48,000 kilohertz. You could do that higher if you want and more lossless if you want, but that's more than enough for what I'm working with. Make sure you name it waveform audio. Make sure the format's correct. Embed profile off and profile working space. So I'm just going to hit cancel, but that's if you want the audio feature within After Effects, which is important in my opinion for a few different user cases. But let's get back to talking about if you want to bake and stack just a few files in that duration and not have this excess before or after. Everything you select, it's going to take the farthest endpoint to the left and farthest out point to the right. And when you hit bake and stack, it's going to, here, let's make sure I select this to the correct folder, output, stack, boom, open. And I'm just going to hit bake and stack. Now it placed it right there in the perfect duration. But you can also do some sick effects just by, I mean, I know you can do it by duplicating it as well, but it's just a lot easier on your computer. So you could come in here and just move them and just do some weird glitch effects. It looks like a photography flash. So there is a few different use cases where this comes in super handy for effects. If you do not have anything selected, it's just going to do the entire composition. Maybe that's exactly what you want. Maybe you just want to bake and stack your entire composition. Let's go back to this 8K file. I know I did it earlier, but I'm going to render this down into a proxy so it's easier to work with. Remember, you can set in and out points, and it will bake it into those in and out points. Or if you don't have any in and out points, it is going to export the entirety of your timeline. As you saw, it automatically set the in and out points to the duration of my timeline. So one of my favorite effects that I like to do is I like to add reverb to the last word, and I like to let it decay out. If I know that I'm going to start the effect for around the last word and I can fade it, I then set the out point where I want the decay to stop. We can go as long or as short as we want. I'll set the out point there. I'm going to select wave file. Like I said, always keep the export quality high for wave files. I'm going to hit bake and stack. And now I have an audio file with a tail that I can add reverb to. So if I were to come up here and put reverb on this file, fade it in a little bit.
I started.
Let's make it just at the very end.
I started.
Now you're seeing how you can quickly use this plugin to add effects. If you were to try that without baking out that audio file, it wouldn't work.
I started.
As you can tell, the reverb instantly stops once the track is done. Now, there are solutions. You could duplicate, disable, nest, and you could accomplish the same thing, but I've just found this to be way faster and way cleaner on my timeline. The last thing that's important to understand is stack and snap will not work if you do not have a layer for it to live on. So if you were to try and stack right now, it would give you an error and say, please create a layer. So just understand that. Understand that you need a layer for it to live on. Appreciate you guys journeying here with snap and stack. Stick around for drop. This is the bad boy that is going to completely revolutionize the way that you sound design in After Effects and Premiere Pro. This plugin right here saves me probably 1 hour a day. So, all right, thanks guys. Look forward to seeing you in the third walkthrough of the Lore collection. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side.